Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another one of my gay gamer video podcasts. Start with a quick movie review. I went to see Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, that's a mouthful, in 3D, thanks to AMC A-List. And I had my second ticket issue with this one particular AMC on 19th Street. You might recall back when I went to see Venom, there was some issue with the time changing, and also it not being in 3D, but then it was, and everything was weird and off. Here, I got there, and I sat down, and the guy next to me is like, hi, that's my sister's seat, she's coming. And I'm like, no, D8. Says right here, and he like pulls out his phone and he's showing me his, and I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I bought this ticket like over a week ago, and maybe I shouldn't buy my tickets in advance, at least not for that theater. Not that far in advance. Maybe I should just buy them a couple of days in advance, because when I buy my tickets that far in advance, they tend to get screwy, at least at this theater. Thankfully, there were two seats to the left that were open, and I said, well, I'll just scooch over one. It's fine. She actually showed up like 5 minutes into the movie, and I'm just like, what the hell, like, wicked late. And she sat down, whatever. And for like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop and for that person to come in and sit down and be like, hey, you're in my seat, and then I'm going to have to go and have an argument with the manager or something. But thankfully, nobody came. So I'm thinking that there was some kind of glitch where, like, they actually bought those seats and thought they bought those seats, and I don't know. But after a time, I was able to, like, enjoy the movie instead of worrying that I was going to lose my seat. And I did enjoy the movie. It's entertaining and visually spectacular, especially the 3D is quite good. Like, there's a lot of, like, he clearly shot this with 3D in mind, and knowing that, like, there's gonna be, you know, they're aiming wands at you, and, like, the magic stuff, the monsters come at you and stuff. It's good. On the plot side of things, it's a lot. There is a lot going on in this movie, and it doesn't end so much as just stop. It's a total middle chapter, and weirdly, this feels like the first movie in a series where they're setting everything up. When the actual first movie, Fantastic Beasts, introduced everything, set everything up, but it actually had a plot where, like, you could follow it, and it ended, and it wrapped things up, and it had a little bit of a tease that they could then use for the next storyline. But here, it's just a lot of plots. There's a lot of subplots going on, and things don't really get resolved. Like, a couple of things do get answered by the end of the film, but it's entertaining as you're watching it, and all of this stuff is happening, but then you get to the end, and it's ultimately unsatisfying because it just sort of stops, and it's clearly just set up for events that will happen over the course of, I think, the next 3, I think there's 3 more to go, I don't know. It's just all middle. And I also couldn't tell you what this movie was about in, like, 2 sentences, because like I said, there's, like, so many subplots going on, and, like, they sort of come together in the end, but not really, and it's, like, it's kind of a mess. But it's an entertaining mess with great visuals. I love the visual style of this, like, taking place in 1927, everything just look, the costumes and the sets and everything, it just looks very cool. It's a great visual style that I like. But I'm also not the biggest Harry Potter fan, so a lot of the, like, references are sort of lost on me. Like, when they went to Hogwarts and, like, they showed Hogwarts and, like, there were some kids in the audience, they were like, yay! And I was like, okay, it's just, you know, whatever. I kind of wanted to get away from Hogwarts. I liked the fact that it was adults doing the wizarding and having adventures, and it was a little more serious and adult. So, enjoy, I guess. It's fine. It's entertaining, but just go into it knowing that it's all set up and it's not actually a movie with a beginning, middle, and an end. It's a beginning and a middle, and then more middle. As for gaming, this is where I would have liked to have been talking about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and my first impressions of the game. However, I can't give you first impressions of a game that I don't have. Because I won't allow myself to buy Pokemon until I finish Okami. Because I know, even though I know that I'm going to get bored with Pokemon halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, because I always do, and I will just get bored and I'll put it down, I don't know that I'm going to go back to Okami. I can't guarantee it. Sometimes I don't go back to finish games, and I am enjoying Okami enough that I want to finish it. Unfortunately, Okami is like the game that doesn't end. Like I had thought I was wrapping up the story and beating the boss. You might recall from the previous episodes, I was like, how can this be the end of the game? It's only been 10 hours of gameplay. That's so weird. And it was not, because then there was more to do. And that wasn't even, I don't even think, the halfway point. Because now I'm at the point where I've discovered the location of the Dark Lord's Island fortress, and I'm heading for that fortress, and I'm like, yes! And I even tweeted, I'm like, I feel like I'm heading for the end game now. Of course, I felt that before, so who knows? And sure enough, a couple of my friends were like, yeah, no, this is not the end of the game. You still have more to go. And I checked a walkthrough just to see the sections, and Oni Island, and I'm like, okay, that's where I am, and there's still like 4 more sections to go after this. And I'm like, of course there is. Like, why would going to the enemy's fortress mean that there's going to be a boss battle and the end of the game? Of course not. Of course there's more to do. It's just weird. This game, like, does not end. It also doesn't help that I won't play it at home, because when I'm at home, I play my PlayStation, not my Switch, so I'm only playing it on the train or at the laundromat or whatever. I do have a long bus ride up to my sister's for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be going upstate, so that'll give me a few hours to play Okami there. So hopefully maybe I'll finish it next week. I don't know. I cannot guarantee that I'm going to be talking about Pokemon in the next episode, because I don't know when Okami is going to finish. Although I do know, I've already made the decision that I'm going to get the Pikachu version, not the Eevee version, because who cares? But I don't know why everybody loves Eevee. But I'm going to get the Pikachu one, and I'd read about the Pokeball accessory that allows you to, like, you know, play the game using the Pokeball joystick on the Pokeball. The button is actually a joystick, so you can actually just do this and play the game with the Pokeball, and then you can throw it to catch the Pokemon, which is, like, super cool. And I'm like, I read some reviews of it, and they're like, it's actually a really good accessory, and it's a lot of fun to play the game with it and everything. And I thought, maybe I'll get the Pikachu one with the Pokeball accessory. And then I looked at the pricing. And the game is a $60 game, of course. The Pokeball accessory knocks it up to $100. And I'm like, no. Even with my 20% Best Buy Gamers Club discount, I cannot justify spending like $80 on a Pokemon game just to get that Pokeball controller. So yeah, that's not worth $40. If it knocked the price up by like 10, maybe $20, sure. But it's like a full-on thing that's like, and I mean, it does a lot. It's not just a joystick or a plastic ball. Like, it does a lot, and it works with Pokemon Go, and it's like a whole big thing, and there's a lot of electronics in that little Pokeball. So $40 is not unreasonable, I guess, but for me, not worth it. So we're just getting the plain Jane version, and I'll just play it with the... Because I'm going to be playing it portably. That's how I play my Switch, is mostly portably. So I'm not going to be using the Pokeball accessory to play it handheld mode. That's just not happening. So it's not really worth it for me at all. Of course, I've also been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and discovering even more ridiculous things in this game. I mean, it is such a detailed game. Like, to a ridiculous level. I mentioned this. I talked about this last episode. But I noticed that I was at camp and I could see there were like flies buzzing around me. And I'm like, oh, I'm dirty. Can I clean myself? Like, I know that I can clean my horse with with a brush or running it through the water, but what about me? And I find out that you can actually go to the hotel and pay like 50 cents or whatever, and you get a bath. And you can have someone bathe you. You can have a buxom wench bathe you, but I was like, no, that costs extra, and I'll do it myself. And you actually have to push separate buttons to wash your arms and your head and your legs. It's absurd. Like, it's so unnecessary. I don't understand why this is even a thing. Like, why? Like, okay, so you want to add the ability to take a bath. Why do you have to, like, push separate buttons to bathe your body parts? It's just this level of detail is kind of mind-boggling. I also enjoy... I would enjoy just riding my horse around and taking in the gorgeous scenery, because some of it is absolutely gorgeous. Except for, it isn't relaxing, because people are always trying to kill me. And it's super irritating, because I'm like, stop trying to kill me. But, and the animals. I keep dying by animals more often than not. Like, I was up in the snow, and I was too cold because I didn't have a warm enough coat on, so my health was dropping automatically. And then my horse is freaking out because there's wolves, and I'm like, it's okay, and I tried to get him to go faster and get away from the wolves, but then he's like, nope, I'm just going to buck you off and fend for yourself, buddy. And I got ripped apart, so. I also tried to do the Gunslingers side quest, where you go and interview the different gunslingers in the different locations for that guy writing the book. And I preferred Black Belle because she was the only one that, like, didn't try to kill me. In fact, we killed a bunch of people together. It was quite fun. Except for afterwards, when I was looting the bodies so I could get some money, and a wagon came by, and they were like, hey, we're a police wagon, and we see what you're doing, and they started shooting at me, and I was like, crap! So I jumped on my horse, and I rode off, and I got away from them, but then I had a wanted level, and I was like, dang it! So I had to go to the post office, and thankfully, the bounty that time was only $10, because, I guess because I didn't shoot back, and I was just looting bodies, and then I ran away. So, $10 wasn't too bad. But, I met all the gunslingers, and I went back to Valentine on the train, just to see what that was like. Turns out it's really expensive and unnecessary. Because it cost almost $8, and it was super unnecessary because when I got to Valentine, I went to the saloon, and the guy wasn't there, and I'm like, what the hell? Where'd he go? And there was no, like, map icon or anything. And then so I Googled the quest just to see, like, what did I do wrong? Did I miss somebody? And it turns out that you can't actually finish the quest until after a certain point in the storyline of the game. You have to be like chapter 4. And I don't know where I am, maybe chapter 2? So I'm just like, oh, okay. So I'm assuming that at some point a map icon will appear and I'll go, oh, okay, I can go finish that side quest then, finally. I'm not sure why I have to be at that point in the game. Maybe I have a special item by that point, I don't know. But we'll see what happens. I'm still enjoying it, even though I do occasionally get killed while I'm just minding my own business. That can be a little annoying. But what are you going to do? It's the Wild West. It's dangerous. So come back next time and maybe I'll talk about Pokemon. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about Okami and then my first impressions of Pokemon. Or I'll just complain about how Okami still won't end. Come back and find out. Bye!